Now time for race 6 of the meeting. Heat 2 for DD2 and DD2 Masters. There are going to be some drivers starting from the dummy grid, which will include pole sitter Devin Sigardi, due to start on the front row. So Fredrik Sebis Christensen will have to be on the outside of the front row, so there'll be a space where Sigardi was due to start. Nikita Genza will line up on the inside of row 2. No Jules Cousin, he'll start from the dummy grid, along with Noah Hip. Nicolas Guillaume starts 6th, head of Prit Sai. Prit Sai also will start from the dummy grid because it looked like the AGS Racing crew were not there in time for the... This is how I see it from the images that you just watched on your screen. They may not have made the gate, the time, made it in time for when the gate closes, and there is a specific window. Luca Neuenhausen starts 8th, head of Paul Quemin, with Dominic Reuters, Mats-Johan Overhoff, Michael Becker, and we've got someone who's got a problem. That is Louis Koch, due to start 14th alongside Manik Mack. So the number 408, the Kart Republic chassis from Dorn Motorsport, will not start, or won't carry any further. Karl Kleber, Christophe Capitan, Gillian Gerhardt, Maximilian Adolf, and Sung Hung Moon will round out the grid. So we're going to be down to 18. So in the opening heat of the day for DD2 and DD2 Masters, Paul Quemin found his way from 8th on the from what was 8th on the grid to take the win. Christophe Capitan ended up winning in Masters. And now we have another twist in the tail. The drivers are weaving from side to side. Some people might be saying, well, they're just warming up their tyres like a Formula 1 car. Well, they're actually checking their steering quite more significantly. There's no suspension travel, really. It's effectively the chassis is your damper, so to speak. And it takes all the hits. You've got track rods, tie rods, as in conventional configuration on a road car, where it's the bottom part of the suspension, but there's no spring, there's no shock absorber, there's no top arm if it's like a multi-link suspension on the front of the car. It is all basically you are exposed. But about to get things underway for Heat 2, race 6 of the meeting for DD2 and DD2 Masters here at the Home of Champions. As Fredrik Sebis Christensen leads them into the tram lines, revs rise, lights are on, lights are out first time. We are underway, and it's going to be the run through into turn 2. And there has been a change for the race lead. Nikita Genza in the 407 has got through. Mats-Johan Overhoff slingshots round the outside of Dominic Reuters and is trying to close in on Luca Neuenhausen in the 488 and gets through at turn 6. They are millimetres apart, a bit like Mansell and Senna back in 1991 in Formula 1. And Overhoff gets through. That's a great move there by the man from Marl. So that is a positional change. That will be 5th on the road for Mats-Johan Overhoff. And now he's gone for 4th. He's got through on Fredrik Sebis Christensen. Meantime, Nicolas Guillaume ahead of Paul Quemin. Sebis Christensen again loses not just 1 but 2 places. So Dominic Reuters gets through on the inside of turn 10. Luca Neuenhausen also got through on him. And that's another position lost. So, not exactly what you wanted to see as Paul Quemin dives up the inside through turn on Nicolas Guillaume, Mr. Uno Mas, and gets through for 2nd place. So, Nikita Genza from Dorn Motorsport leads the way in the 407. Paul Quemin in the 402 from France, making the move finally up from seniors to DD2. Made his debut as a DD2 driver for Dams Racing back at the Champions Winter Trophy in the 2nd weekend of February. So Louis Koch, unfortunately, had a good run in Heat 1, but Heat 2 went very, very much south before it even gotten started. And now there's the battle for the race lead. Nikita Genza holds Paul Quemin to the outside on the run down through into turn 10. Now it's a 3-way scrap as Nicolas Guillaume is pretty much keeping with them. So Paul Quemmen is the Tony Kart meat and a Kart Republic sandwich. And now Genza round the outside. He's got through. Is he going to get through by turn 2? No, he's not, but Guillaume senses the opportunity and threads the eye of the needle through at turn 2 on Nikita Genza, and now goes for the race lead at turn 4. Inspired driving by Nico Guillaume on Paul Quemmen after quickly dispatching of Nikita Genza through into turn number 2. So 7 minutes and 20 to go, and it's a titanic battle at the front end of the field. And the two at front, Guillaume and Quemmen, have dropped Nikita Genza like a bad habit right now because they've cantered away into the distance. So that makes me think, is Nikita Genza having to battle with an issue because his teammate from Dom Motorsport, Mats-Johan Overhoff, is not that far behind. Well, Mats-Johan Overhoff actually, well, there's the change for the race lead again. Through into turn 2 for Quemmen on Guillaume. Now he takes the lead. Dominic Reuters now is in 4th and closing in on Nikita Genza. Been a bit of a development elsewhere. I've seen a couple of drivers drop down the order. Michael Becker, the 504 from Hagen in Germany, has tumbled down the order. I'm trying to see whether his kart is anywhere in my peripheral vision. At the moment, not quite yet. So Michael Becker hadn't come through sector 3, I believe. So whether he's parked it, I'm not 100% sure. However, Paul Quemmen starting to try and put a bit of daylight between himself and Nico Guillaume for the race lead. Yeah, it looks like Michael Becker has pretty much stopped towards the end of the lap, and that's a real shame. And Genza now gets passed by Reuters for 3rd position, so I think Nikita Genza is just going to try and keep himself at the sharp end of the field as best he can. So if he's battling a technical problem, he's going to do his best with regards to it. In the meantime, Nicolas Guillaume looks over his right shoulder to see where Dominic Reuters is. Reuters is 3.2 seconds behind him. So Guillaume has just got to keep himself on the straight and narrow, cross the T's, dot the I's, and keep himself ahead by a significant margin. But the significant margin in front of him, that gap, is opened wider than the Grand Canyon in the United States right now because Paul Quemmen is on a charge. Michael Becker is going to be out of the race, 2nd retirement, and there's more coming. Kilian Gerhardt and Sung Hung Moon, I think, have also decided to call time on the 2nd heat. Now, people might say the heat stages of this competition are important. Yes, 100% agree and side with you on that, but it's a winner-take-all situation, and there's something I thought I was going to bear witness to again at one point this season. Carl Klebor round the outside of Pritzai, and they are battling tooth and nail. Devin Sigardi is along for the ride, and this is towards the back end of the field. So we look to have 4 retirements. Kilian Gerhardt and Sung Hung Moon on lap 3. Michael Becker on the end of lap 2. And Louis Koch before even the race got started. And his kart is pretty much, unfortunately, left on its own on the runoff area between the final third of the Europlan and the top part of turn 9. There's Maximilian Adolf in the 424. He's being closed in on by Marek Mak in the 412, and just behind them, they've got the old veteran from Estonia, Pritzai, the 519 with AGS Racing. Fastest lap of the race so far, though, however, in 7th position, who started 5th on the grid, Noah Hipp. A 56.699 as we've got 3 minutes and 20 still to go. Pritzai has got past Marek Mak, now looking to get past through on Maximilian Adolf in the 424. Quemmen has a lead, and it's nearly 1.2 seconds between him and Nicolas Guillaume. And I think maybe Dominic Reuters might find himself a little bit further back, probably over the country border to the Netherlands by 2.7 seconds. Great move there from Pritzai to get past Adolf through at turn 7 off of the Europalan. So that's now 11th place at the minute. There are still 3 drivers running in DD2 Masters, and the remainder of those running, 11 of them I count, well, started with 19, 12 DD2 drivers still running. So Devin Sigardi now up into P14 ahead of Carl Clebor. 2 minutes and 20 left to go. And Paul Forquemin is stretching that advantage over Nicolas Guillaume very, very easily indeed. But there is still a battle. Devin Sigardi has the opportunity to get through on Manic Mac and Maximilian Adolphe. And Manic Mac gets out of the way very, very quickly. Didn't want to fight the pole sitter, who started from the dummy grid and now has Maximilian Adolphe in his sights in the 424. Sigardi, neatly done, does the old Nigel Mansell dummy attempt on the 424 through at turn 8. No room at the end there, I'm afraid, for the Estonian. And now he's going to try again, possibly get the opportunity to go through at turn 10. Stays on the racing line, waits for his opportunity. Through turn 11, gets deeper on the brakes. And now the run to turn 12. What is Sigardi going to do? He's going to do the old crisscross up the inside. Through he goes at turn 12, and that's another place in the books. Up the order for Devin Sigardi from Estonia. However, Nicolas Guillaume is closing in on Paul Forquemin. And that gap, as they've now got to try and make their way through back marker traffic. That's not what they needed, and Guillaume has just lost a bag full of time. Manic Mac gets in the way ever so slightly, so blue flags may be waving on the circuit. Forquemin gets through, gets past Sigardi, so does Guillaume, and that has given them a little bit of a lifeline right now. That's exactly what they needed. Nicolas Guillaume had managed to take out of Paul Forquemin on that last lap nearly half a second. So Forquemin knows that 2 wins out of 2, his second one, isn't going to be as easy as the previous race, where we saw a bit of drama, including what happened to Devin Sigardi. We're on to the penultimate lap. Lap 10 is now completed. Lap 11 and underway. This is more like it. Track is a lot drier in terms of evolution once again. So the pendulum swing, the microclimate here at Karting Genk, once again showcases how difficult things can be. However, Manic Mac in the way of Dominic Reuters, who's trying to clear off into the distance ahead of Luca Neuenhausen. The gap between them is like 7.3 seconds. And Matti DeCardo saying something about Vince van der Hollen. I didn't quite catch what it says. You're the GOAT of Karting Genk. Well, there's other drivers that are also very much accomplished on that. So, game over. God dearie me. It's like a Sega arcade game, what you've just put on there with regards to that emoji. But here's the race lead battle. This is going to come down to the wire, because it was 99 thousandths between Nicolas Guillaume, who's trying to get the frighteners on Paul Forquemin, and he loses a bag of time. They came out of turn 2 nearly side by side. Guillaume runs wide through turn 3, costs him at least 0.3 of a second. And now with the final lap underway, it's going to be how much Nico Guillaume wants it. Paul Forquemin can already say, well, I've got to win in the books. Nico, you're going to have to throw one at me. You're going to have to throw a haymaker. But now into turn 11. For the final time come the race leaders. Blue flags being waved to the carts in front. Now out of the final corner. Oh, Guillaume loses the back end. He was up right with Paul Forquemin. I cannot believe what I have just seen. Whoever that back marker was, they saw the blue flags. But of course, you've got to look at it from 2 perspectives on that. Forquemin could have been side by side, courtesy of Nicolas Guillaume on the finish line. They were a tenth apart after the penultimate lap. But Paul Forquemin takes the win by over 9/10 of a second. So that's 2 for 2 for the Frenchman for Dams Racing. Dominic Reuters for Dorn Motorsport rounds out the top 3. Ahead of Noah Hipp, Luca Neuenhausen, Jules Cousin and Nikita Genza complete the top 7. Mats-Johan Overhoff rounds out 8th. It might have been possibly, might have been Christophe Capitan in the 599 that was the driver that was being shown the blue flag. Not 100% sure, but I think that might have been the case. So Christophe Capitan, 9th, wins DD2 Masters again. Frederick Zebis Christensen, 10th, head of Plitzai. Devin Segardi, Marek Mack, Carl Klibor, and Maximilian Adolphe rounding out the 15 that finished. Kinian Gahan we lost on lap 3, as the same with Sung Hung Moon from the Republic of Korea. Michael Becker out on lap 2, and Louis Koch, unfortunately, out on the formation lap. But it's 2 for 2 for Forquemin and Capitan in DD2 and DD2 Masters.